Hey, good morning, Las Vegas. This is Bryon Watkins coming to you right now. Today I want to talk to you on my show. It's my first time, so bear with me. It's called Procedural Law and Justice. And the reason I named that is this. Because unfortunately, with all that's going on with the court systems, with all that's going on with police, the procedures in the law has been violated so much, so therefore it has been a grave injustice. And that's just something people need to wake up to, people need to become educated on, and people need to learn how to read the laws themselves so that they can learn how to apply the laws themselves. So, also, if you would like to call in, the number is 702-984-6843. Now, with that said, I'll start off with a little bit of background about myself as far as the law goes. I used to be a jailer in Cleveland, Ohio, for a couple of years in 2001 to 2003, and then I was a Nevada State corrections officer from 2007 to 2009. Now, the reason I became a little bit ambivalent about the justice system, like I like to call it the just us system, because I've noticed how I started reading reports about different inmates or people who got convicted. It was just something wasn't right there. Something was amiss. Either some evidence, lack of investigative procedures by detectives, so forth like that. So it didn't sit right with me. So fast forward to mid-2009, I decided to quit on my own. Was not forced, in case you're wondering, to quit working in corrections, where at one point I could have lateral over to be a North Las Vegas police officer. Now, North Las Vegas is another small city here next to actual Las Vegas, so don't get the two confused to be the same, because they're not. And that was in June 2009, which is why I quit, because I started noticing that the prison system is pretty much for profit. That's already been proven time again. That will be discussed in a later show, but the prison system is all about profit. And if you will, that is the new form of slavery, which you may call now the indentured servitude, which is also be included in the next show that I do. So you can see how the process has been going on for so long when it comes to false arrest and so forth like that. But then let's go to 2011. And this is what really hit home for me. Now, unfortunately, something bad has to happen to people before they wake up and know what's really going on, and that's okay. So you take the good with the bad, and you can turn the bad into a positive and an educational process so that others may learn from it. Now, though this was stupid, 2011, as working as a bouncer at then Vanity nightclub inside the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. I don't know if the nightclub is still there now, but that's beside the point. I was the bouncer, and then another a man named Michael Paul Smith out here in Las Vegas, Nevada, was a bouncer also. Michael Paul Smith loved to run his mouth. Why? I don't know. Maybe because he was a bodybuilder. I don't know. I had worked at this time for only 4 months. He for 2.5, 3 years. So one night, going into shift, he popped off to me for no reason at all. I wasn't even talking to this guy. I was talking to somebody else about what I always talk about: laws, politics, philosophy, economics. He said, and I quote with an expletive, "Does this prick ever shut expletive up?" Something to that effect about this, meaning about me talking about what I was talking about. When that was said, you can hear a pin drop in our briefing. Shortly thereafter, we got dismissed to go up to Vanity nightclub to get my post. I asked him, was that comment towards me? He said, yeah, because he doesn't like me. Okay, I said, well, I think I may have heard that 2 or 3 times in my entire life, but at the same time, I didn't know this guy, so I don't know you. So we never have had a conversation. I don't even know you, so I don't know what your problem is. So I told him flat out, well, since now you made me uncomfortable, we can handle this like men. Take care of this after work. He said, and I quote, and I'll never forget, we can go handle this right now. We're on the clock, by the way. Whole thing's on video, everything. You can see us taking off our jackets, taking out our time cards, punching out, walking the long corridor distance in the employee area, those who ever worked at the Hard Rock Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we started, and the result is he ended up in the hospital for a week. So the police only arrested me and not him. Now, this is where I started to wake up to the corruption in the law and the idiocy that police enforce, because a lot of them are really idiots, to be honest with you, and I'm going to prove that. So the police said, we got a call from the hospital. There's like a lot of broken bones in his face, so we're going to arrest you. And I knew that was wrong. I knew I couldn't articulate it at the time, so I didn't know. Come to find out, fast forward, going through the rigmarole through the court system for the first time. I started finding lots of discovery about challenges, called challenges to fights afraid. I found a lot of federal court cases that said if there's two at fault, they're both at fault. Unless there's a weapon involved, which there was not, or excessive force involved, which it was not, and it's all video. So, bottom line is I got railroaded, not him. That's the bottom line. So I just dove into studying all kinds of laws, procedures, federal rules of civil procedure, federal rules of criminal procedure, local rules of evidence, local rules of criminal procedure, so forth and so on. And with that said, I started helping people with their briefs, and my Facebook is going up a lot, which I'm only one man, so I can't answer all calls. So, and then I decided to really start teaching people how to question police, question authority, like the founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison Jr., John Jay, Abraham Lincoln, all told us about. That's the bottom line. So, do not be afraid to question authority. That's the point I'm getting at. Don't be afraid to question authority. If you're afraid to question authority, which is okay, being afraid is fine, but don't be afraid to where it's going to make you not question authority, because just because they are in an authoritative position does not mean they have the complete authority. The foundation of our country was based on a republic. The people have the authority. The people have the strength. The people have the power, whereas the representatives, be it senators, any type of congressman, councilman, police, FBI, they're the civil servant. We tell them, they don't tell us. Unfortunately, that's been slowly but surely twisted to be the opposite. It was never meant to be that way. Now we have an oligarchy. It's not good. It's just not good. So, with that said, I want to talk about what's going on in the country now with the police. Now, a lot of people seem to think that, well, let me say this first. Let me throw this out there, because I think this is very funny every time I hear this. And I notice the news media only shows confrontations between blacks and whites to keep that black and white divide going. Now, the black and white divide going, you can go back to Bacon's Rebellion. Nathaniel Bacon, regarding, it was called Bacon's Rebellion in 1663, when the powerful elite came up with a way to divide the blacks and whites. It's all about power. So I just want to throw that out there so you have some kind of historical foundation where to start from when it comes to the black and white divide, when it comes to the powerful elite. So let's talk back to with the police now. A lot of people want to seem to think that this is just a problem between blacks, mainly black males, and police. It's not true. Not true at all. It happens a lot with whites, but the news media does not show that. Why? Because they want to keep the blacks and white divide going. It's all about power and keeping people dumbed down. So this is where people like myself step into the fray. The problem is a lot of police, honestly, they don't know the laws. Statutes, for example, Nevada revised statutes, those are not laws. The problem is people don't read the definitions of words. One of my favorite, the late Justice Antonin Scalia of the United States Supreme Court once said, and I quote, "Let us now look at the definition of the statute." Point being is this: anytime you are faced with any kind of legalities whatsoever, you want to read the definitions of the words they're using against you in court or before you go to court, so that you can discern which laws to use, because they use different definitions, which they're not supposed to do, but they do. This is part of the tricks of the court, and they use different laws without you knowing. So you may think you're trying to, you're defending one law. In actuality, you're defending something totally different. So, and then you get railroaded through the court system. So it's all about, it's like basketball, which is probably why they got the word court from. You go from one side of the court to another, or a tennis court. One person hits the ball, another person hits the ball. It's a back and forth thing. Who's ever got the strongest argument, who's ever got the strongest will wins. Simple as that. And a lot of times courts win on a bunch of BS, lies, deceit, and deception, which they do. So back to the police and police stops. So excuse me if I digress. This is my first show, so just bear with me. I give you a perfect example, and I use this example all the time because it hits home. Jaywalking. Now, we all see how, there's been a video, one really video that stood out in my mind was, I think it was in Colorado, it's on YouTube, it's all over YouTube, a girl, no one jogs with their ID on hardly at all, especially when they're wearing tights. No one does that. So she's just going across the street jogging. She gets rousted by the police, bad to where she's thrown on the ground, just for jogging. They say, well, she was jaywalking. Well, so the hell what? Here's the thing. Jaywalking is not a law. It's a statute. Look up the definition and historical foundation of statute versus law. Now, in order to have committed, this is true, you can quote me on this. In order to have violated a law, you have to have elements. Anything that's you're dealing with within the justice system, there has to be an element or elements, plural, to support the alleged law you broke. So, when it comes to law, if there is no corpus delicti, means an actual injured party, you have not violated a law. The states, any kind of statute that they want to write and enforce, they can do that, no problem. That's the state's rights. I get that part, because I know some of you are going to probably say that. But here's the thing people don't know, because no one reads anything. And I would bet my life on no one reads anything. I give you an example. I'm giving you an example. I'm going back to what I'm talking about. The average person every day wakes up in the morning, takes a shower, eats their breakfast, kisses their wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, gets dressed, go off to work all day, come home at night, relax in front of the TV, eat a little dinner, go to bed. That process is repeated constantly. In between, nobody studies laws, nobody studies statutes, nobody studies historical foundation in books, nobody studies the founding fathers' written language, nobody studies anything because they don't have time, nor do they make the time. That's the problem. So therefore, nobody knows anything. And they get their education from TV. So you have some good luck with that, because that's not going to get you an education at all. That's going to get you more of an indoctrination, not education. Big difference. So, with that said, let's get back to corpus delicti. In order to have an actual law broken, it actually has to be an injured party, meaning an actual physical being has to have had to have been injured. So, if you just walk across the street, did you injure anybody? Did you hinder traffic? Which some people do, which is, it happens. Did you cause a riot? Did you cause a direct threat to somebody? Did you cause damage to someone's property? Did you defraud somebody? Those are elements in a criminal crime. No, you just walked across the street. Police can't stop. See, even police don't know this because they wake up in the morning, whatever time in their life they did, say, I want to go to the police academy and become a cop. That's cool, fine. That's your right. That's your free will, imagination, and choice in our constitutional republic. And we do live in a constitutional republic. That'll be a different discussion at a later date. So, and they're given all kinds of stuff. They're giving this, here, study this, pass this test. They don't question anything. So they don't know. They think the statutes are the actual laws. No. Most statutes, and I've been studying those very, very meticulously, are revenue generators. They generate revenue. You cannot give anybody a citation, ticket, which is also a bill of attainder, which violates the state and federal constitution, by the way, to pay a fine when there's actually no crime. I'll say that again. You cannot give anyone a citation to pay a fine when there's actually no crime, meaning criminal crime. Now, they'll change it up on you and say, well, you violated a statute. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Under the laws, and I'll break out in another show, all the federal laws that supports what I'm saying, you can't do it. The problem is, it's been such a continuous practice, and I was guilty of it, we're all been guilty of it. It's been a continuous practice. We have been led to believe that it's actually truth and fact, and it's not. It's actually lies, deceit, and deception, fraud, extortion, and flat out BS. It's that simple. So, some examples, that's called, what they say in law, those kinds of citations like jaywalking, no tail light, no seatbelt, something hanging in your rearview visor, apparently it's obstructing your view. That so-called law is funny to me because something pretty small hanging in my window. How do you know it's obstructing my view? Can you see through my eyes? So how do you know that? They don't. They don't know it. That's the point. So those kinds of laws, for argument's sake, we'll say laws, or what's called a malum prohibitum. They are prohibited. However, if they are prohibited, they still cannot supersede corpus delicti because it has to have an actual injured party. That's the point. So, and I've had this argument many times before with people, and then I'll start showing them the case laws that proves all this, the law maxims that proves all this, and they switch up and say, well, you know, Bryon, well, those statutes and revenues are good because it creates jobs. I say, wait a minute. You just indirectly agreed with me. However, you're defending it because it creates jobs. So, let me give you another scenario. It creates jobs. Okay, I can dig it. I like it. Creating jobs is great. It's wonderful. It's brilliant. However, those jobs are being created off your labor. Now, I'll say that again. Those jobs are being created off your labor. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. I'll let that sink in for about 10 seconds. Time's up. Now, what do I mean by it's created off your labor? It's very simple. When you wake up in the morning, you go do your 8, 10, 12, 15-hour day job, which a lot of people do over 10 hours a day. So you're traveling on home, minding your own business, being cool, chilling, relaxing, not hurting anybody at all whatsoever. You get pulled over. Oh, you don't have a seatbelt, so we write you a ticket for that. Well, not wearing a seatbelt, I'm not damaging anybody. I'm not harming no one at all. No one whatsoever. That's about $200 or $300 fine. Yeah, they've just stolen your labor. They took your money that you made that day for an alleged crime when it's not a crime because no one got injured. Yeah, I know what you're going to say. Well, what if you got into an accident? Well, what if, I don't know, what if a meteor fell from the sky? What if I looked up in the sky and see pink elements flying? Who cares? You cannot cite nobody in the law on what ifs. It doesn't work that way. Something else has been led to believe. It doesn't work that way at all. You can't do that. That's actually fraud, believe it or not. So, the thing is this. You cannot cite anybody for anything on what ifs, could ifs, and possibly would have been. It doesn't work that way. Unless there's an actual crime that already occurred, different story. You can do that. So let me ask yourself, you know what? And when it starts to really sink in, how many of these tickets police have written to people over the decades? All these kinds of tickets. Where's all that money going? School systems are still screwed up. Streets are still screwed up. Infrastructure is still screwed up. So where's all the money going? I don't know where the money's going. Follow the money. Which is myself and some whistleblowers are currently working on, and we're going to find where the hell it's going. You can believe that. Because that's my labor you are stealing, telling me that I broke an actual law when I didn't break a law. And the statutes, again, you can enforce. However, they cannot supersede the federal or state constitution. But no one knows that. No one even knows how to articulate that. I've debated with attorneys. They don't even know how to articulate that. And they went to law school. Gee, I feel confident about attorneys already. But I get into them later. That's going to be that's going to be a hell of a show right there. And I hope to God this phone blows up from attorneys. I really do. So I can educate them on stuff they don't get taught in law schools. I know that because I've vetted some law schools very well. I do my homework. I do my homework very well. And if I don't know something, I ask intelligent people to do that does their homework very well so that I can get the right answers. So, as far as the police stops go, and this is the problem. Police stop you and they don't know the law, which they're actually doing. They are aggravating the situation. The jaywalking thing, they're not supposed to be doing that. The stop and frisk thing was going on in New York. Now, we all know that police, or at least they should, you're not supposed to stop somebody because in their academies and their continuous training, and I know this because I've been taking law classes, not to become a cop, I'll tell you that in a minute, but they know you can't just stop somebody without the three inchoate, INCHOATE acts within reasonable suspicion, followed by the three articulated acts within probable cause. They know that, and I know they know that. So just because their superiors told them to do something, they're supposed to ignore the order, period, and do the right thing. And this is the problem. See, no one knows this because no one researches anything. People say, well, just do what they say. No. No. And to a lot of you conservatives, which I'm mostly conservative myself, but I still have an open mind. A lot of you conservatives will say, well, the Founding Fathers this, the Founding Fathers that. Well, if you love the Founding Fathers so much, the Founding Fathers, if you read any of their historical documents, which I know most of you have not, they would agree to what people are doing today as far as challenging the police, challenging judges, challenging the FBI, challenging the president, no matter who's the president, challenging the now Department of Homeland Security, which is a joke, which that's a different discussion at a later date. They told us all of this, told us all to do this. So you support the Founding Fathers so much, but at the same time, you're chastising their views. Doesn't make sense. That's like trying to mix water and oil. That's never going to work, baby. Sorry. It's either one or the other. And the crux of the Bill of Rights was the Fourth Amendment, which what? Well, police violate all the time. But I hear people's idiocies, well, just do what they say. Well, they're the police, so you're supposed to follow the instructions. Wrong! Not when their instructions are violating their oath, laws, ethics, morals, professionalism, and the list goes on. I'm going to challenge when I know they're wrong, and I'm going to do it. Period. The end. So, with that said, with the stop and frisk, which also been proven countless times that stop and frisk tactic they were doing in New York City never prevented no crimes at all whatsoever. What it was really about was generating revenue. So if I were those people that all got stopped in New York and they can do it on social media, get together collectively, since it's already been proven to be done through lies, deceit, deception, and pretty much violated their rights to begin with, I would get together and file a class action lawsuit. I would keep them flooded with paperwork, but that's just me. And of course, I'm throwing it out there on purpose. Hopefully, they'll get in contact with myself and the other team of people that I work with so we can teach them how to do this. So officials that say that, they can wake up and say, you know what, we got to stop doing this stuff. Yeah, you're right. You do. The police departments do it all the time. Fast forward to the LAPD. A few years ago, this has been in the paper about, I think, 8 or 9 years ago. Their own police officers sued their own department for forcing them to write false tickets. That proved right there alone that they do write tickets for revenue. They got a quota. And I wasn't on the police department to improve it. What happened in Ferguson, Missouri with the Michael Brown case was the aftermath. The Justice Department found that the Ferguson police have been writing unlawful tickets for decades. Decades. Stealing your labor. Hard-earned money that you made stolen by false ticket writing. They took from your mouth. It took from your husband's mouth, your wife's mouth, your children's mouth, your vacation, your groceries, your electric bill, your phone bill, the list goes on. See, people don't think outside the box, and that's the problem, which is why I love philosophy so much. You have to think outside the box. You can't think with this blinders on. That's what racehorses do. Unless of course, you're a racehorse, and I don't believe you have 4 legs. Just want to throw that out there. So you have to think outside the box. You need to know what's coming from the left, which is your right. You need to know what's coming from the right, which is your left, and from the center, up and down, and all around. And that starts with reading history, which nobody reads anything. They're so busy texting constantly. They're so busy looking at reality shows. Who the hell cares about a reality show? Are they doing anything for you? I hear more stuff talk in the streets about people know. I don't even know reality shows. I'll make one up, a fictitious the Jerry Jones reality show. People know about Jerry Jones' children. They didn't know about what's going on in the real world. That amazes me. That astounds the hell out of me. It really does. I'm so perplexed with that. It's not even funny. I can't even begin to fathom why you would care about. You're just making that reality show richer. But you know what? It's a free country. Do what you want. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, that's another discussion at a later date also. That just amazes me. It just amazes me. I'm at a loss of words. It really am. So, When it comes to police stops and you know it's unlawful, you challenge them flat out. Ask them, what's the accusatory instrument for my inspection for which remedy can be granted? The accusatory instrument meaning, what's the law that I've been allegedly suspicious of? Inspection means they're questioning you, they're interviewing you. So why are you questioning me if I have not broken the law? If I have broken the law, produce what law? What law? A lot of times they don't have it. They just harass you. And you all know that. And I know you know that. And then the average person, well, they're the police, just do what they say. No! No! Not if there's no... See, people want to be left the hell alone. See, a lot of times people, police actually, or I think, honestly, now I've seen all the videos, reading all these reports that I read, they actually purposely want to foment a situation. And then they'll get you later, well, resistant, like they always do, resisting arrest or disturbing the peace. And it's kind of funny how a lot of times in those cases we have seen, those charges are dropped. Imagine that. That's funny. Just a thought. Just wanted to throw that out there. So, no, if you're being stopped unlawfully, you question them. You question them. Why are you stopping me? Where's your reasonable suspicion? Where's your probable cause? You don't have it. You don't have it. You don't. You don't. A lot of times they don't. They're just doing it to generate revenue and get the quotas up. That's not true police work. That is fraud. Is what it is by police. And this is the big uproar that's been going on. And why? Because people are waking up and they are starting to read the laws now. People are waking up. They are starting to read police procedures. People are waking up. They start to know what's going on. Finally, thanks to mostly the internet. You have the information right at your hands. Right there at your fingertips. So use it. And don't just take face value for the first thing you look up. Read the resources that you're looking up or whatever you read also. And police, this is to you. You need to know the real laws. Don't think because you went to some police academy that you were taught the laws. You weren't. I've studied some police departments' curriculums that they're given to them in the police academies. Nah. That's not law. And why do you think they want to recruit people so young? Because the average person, they're not aware of life until they're like, honestly, I'd say probably in their early 30s, mid-30s. But they want people so young between 18 to 25. Your mind is not even cognitive developed at that time. So they can train you the way they want you to. See, people that are older, they question them. Me, I'm questioning everything. I've been like that my whole life anyway. They don't want people like that. They want to control you. They don't want critical thinkers. They just don't. Now, I bet you there's close to 1 million sworn peace officers in our country. I bet you if the age of peace officers were between 28 and up, there wouldn't be 1 million. There'd probably be like 600,000, maybe, if not less. Which personally, that's how much there should be, in my opinion. Because a lot of cops, they don't know what the hell they're doing. You don't. You don't. You have a duty and responsibility to question your superiors. They tell you to go start stopping frisky. You have a duty and a responsibility to tell them, you know what, Sarge, we can't just do that arbitrarily like that. That violates Terry v. Ohio. That violates Matt v. Ohio. That violates Hibble versus the 6th District Court, District of Nevada court case. That violates a lot of court cases. Not to mention, then it violates Nevada Life Statute 171.123, Section 1, which is the same thing as Terry versus Ohio. So that violates a lot of stuff, Sergeant. We can't just do that. Of course, they'll find a way to kick you off the force within 6 months to a year. But you're doing the right thing. The police profession has an enormous black eye, so huge that the swelling is not going to go down anytime soon. In fact, it's going to get worse because they're going to keep doing the same things that they've been doing and have been for a long time. It's as simple as that. So let me read you a couple of things before I wrap this up. This is a quote from one of the court justices in Terry versus Ohio. Hey, good morning. It's Bryon Watkins, Las Vegas, Nevada. How you doing?
Hi, Brian. This is Chris Garcia. I just wanted to ask you a quick question.
Shoot.
When they pull you over in your automobile, if you refuse rights to search your trunk or your glove compartment, what do you do at that point?
If you tell them that I don't consent to it,
Yes.
and the police do what, they force themselves on you?
Do you have a right to tell them that? That's what I hear a lot of people say that, well, I didn't give them permission to search my glove compartment or my trunk or in my car.
Hell to the yes, man. You have every right to do that. You tell them, no, I do not consent to a search at all until you have a proper warrant. And the warrant has to be an original warrant signed by the magistrate, him or herself. It cannot be a stamped warrant. It has to be an original warrant. If they don't have reasonable suspicion that escalates to probable cause to search your trunk unless they have something right there in front of them, which is called the plain view doctrine, they can't search anything whatsoever, and they know it. They know it, but they abuse it.
Okay.
So what else? You want to elaborate on that, or what else you need?
No, that's good to know. I've just had a lot of friends that have said that they have refused to give them permission to search, but they searched anyway. Or they say, well, we can sit here all day, I'll call the dogs out, and we'll look in your car or whatever. So,
right, okay. I'm glad you said that. See, now, this is something, I'm glad you brought that up. Now, as far as the dogs go, when they bring a dog out, this is already been proven. You know how, you'll see it on videos, police will have a dog going around the car, and the police they'll start touching the car, say, here boy. They can't do that. That's called a false alert. If the dog is so damn good, excuse my language, they're supposed to walk around the car with the dog without having to do anything. The dog would immediately sniff out whatever alleged drugs that there are. They can't start tapping areas because by nature the dog's going to automatically go to that area, and then the police will say, oh, we got a hit. Okay, we're going to search the car. Come on, man, don't play me for no fool. Don't do it. I'll eat you up. Don't do it. So, stand on your right. Stand as a man. Stand as a woman. Tell them, if they just pull you over, they say, well, I pulled you over because of the tail light. Okay, cool, I can dig it. No problem. Well, maybe search your car. No, I don't consent to a search because a broken tail light has nothing to do with no contents that may or may not be in my automobile. Plain and simple. Well, sir, we're going to have to search your car. Well, okay, before you do that, I require, don't ask, I require your lieutenant to come to the scene. Oh, it's going to be a while. I'll wait. No problem. I'll wait. And while you're at it, get on the horn to the magistrate and give me an original signed, I forgot that quick, warrant.
Okay.
That's how you all have to, you have to articulate this with some confidence. If you're nervous, I can dig it. That's not a problem because you're going to be scared. If you're not, it's like a fighter that goes into a ring. Well, I'm not scared. They get knocked out within 1 or 2 rounds. You're supposed to be nervous, but don't be so nervous to where you have so much trepidation in your voice or you don't know what you're talking about. So articulate it well and go from there. But no, cancel. I'm sorry for me doing this speech, but I do this so it can really resonate and hit home with people. If you're getting pulled over for something so minor like that, no, they cannot search your automobile whatsoever. They can't do it. They can't. They just can't do it, and they know it.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian.
No problem, man. Hey, have a good day. All right. Stay, keep hydrated. Hot. You feel me? Now, in closing, what we're talking about. Oh, yeah. I wanted to read to you it's called a concurring opinion from the Terry versus Ohio case by Justice White. Justice White made it clear. There is nothing in the Constitution which prevents a policeman from addressing questions to anyone on the streets. Absent special circumstances, I'll say that again, absent special circumstances, the person approached may not be detained or frisked, but may refuse to cooperate and go on his way. So, with that said, when they say, well, we want to check your ID. For what? What have I done? Terryville, Ohio, which I know all police know, you just go on about your way. And they know it. Bottom line is, police, people want to be left alone by you. You doing stuff like that, you are creating the high disdain against you and your profession. It's your fault. As kids, we were all taught, I know you all were, we were all taught to take responsibility for your own actions. We were all taught to leave people the heck alone. We were all taught to not bother people, but you all do the opposite in a so-called profession. I don't get it. Well, I kind of get it. I don't want to say it because that'll be an opinion. Until I can articulate it with facts, I'll bring it up at that time. But I'm sure some of you already know where I'm going with that. In cases like this, a lot of people, you have to also read what the justices have said about that court case. Don't just read the holding in the court case. Read what the justices have said about the court case and why they decided the way that they decided, so you can know how they think and why they think the way that they do. Okay, so I'm going to wind this down. So with that said, this is going to be plenty more to come. I got my schedule changes and fluctuates, but there'll be more to come. So other than that, it's hot. It's hot out not only in Las Vegas, but New Mexico, Texas, parts of California. Stay hydrated, study your P's and Q's, become educated, become self-knowledgeable on the law. Laws, economics, politics, and history are on a daily basis in this country. Learn them, live by them, do them, enforce them so you can apply them. You feel what I'm saying? I'm out. Y'all have a nice day.